Back live inside the den, man, with my special guest, my main man. I pay to go see this guy in every band he's been in, man. I pay. Cause I must consider I ain't a singer, but when I go watch Go-Go's, I listen to the male and female singers.
Yes, sir.
And that Kesey, Scooby, did I say his name right?
Yeah, Kesey, yeah.
Kesey, Scooby, Steve Roy,
Dirk,
yeah. Vibe Band, Dirk. That's I go and I sit back and I listen to those.
John, you don't know about him though.
Who?
John Williams.
John?
Mr. Tone, yeah. He sang with me at Serious Comedy.
Yeah, I listen to the singers, man. So that's what drives me when I go out. It ain't the crank.
Yes,
I listen to them singers and the leads in the bands. I always say that. Yeah. I always say that. Yes, I said, man, I come when I hear Kim rocking. I used to hear Donnie rocking.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love it, man. Back live with my man Scoob. We're gonna take you into another segment.
Yes, sir. Yeah, hey, man.
So, your time with Familiar, what is one thing or two things that you learned from working with D Floyd?
One was was business. I've always looked at that organization as, somewhat of a model organization of how I will run my band. Jahar is Jahar, and I say that in the most nice way. He's the bad cop, you know what I mean, of the organization. And Donnell was the good cop, but they were never late on payroll. They always paid their way. And honestly, it was a good time. Like, we was the best, in my opinion, that from top to bottom, that probably was the best bands of all time. You know what I mean?
I would like that when that.
Yeah, I mean,
I would like that.
You're talking about just names. You know what I mean? Like Mickey, Jammin' Jeff, Miss Kim, myself.
D Floyd remind me of the Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
The Quincy Jones of Go-Go.
He put it together.
He put it together.
Yeah. And it was easy, honestly. Any night, anybody can just have a night. You know what I mean? Like, and that's honestly, man, if I had to give my flowers, that band that Donnell put together was the model for how I put Serious Company together. Not in terms of names, but in terms of ability.
Right. I was going to ask you about listening. It looked like you was doing the same thing with listening.
Listen was a little different. Listen was, we weren't the best, we didn't have the best musicians, but we had chemistry. And I think that came from us just knowing each other from so long. Like, at one time, we can finish each other's sentences before we even got in the band. You know what I mean? We were all in summer band together, so you got to think we spent a lot of time before we even graduated high school. You know what I mean?
That wasn't a flaw that you could see when y'all played though.
Right.
That you didn't have. You could see that y'all had been together, and that made up for, like you said, you didn't have the best musicians.
It made up for
every time y'all hit the stage.
It was tight.
It was tight.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So Mike, who now plays with Secret Society, practiced us hard. You know what I mean? And we learned that from being in Easton's band. And everybody was kind of used to it from coming from the marching bands, era where that was it. You know what I mean? Even the guys that came from Woodson, they all came from a marching band background. And so for our practices, in the early days of Listen, we practiced every day. Every single day. You know what I mean? So we'll meet up at my parents' house, go up in the room, push that bed up against the wall, and we get it. You know what I mean? So for us, it was nothing when we started playing every day, 7 days a week. 2 times at one club in the week. We played at Aero Squadron on Saturday and Monday.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? Like, that's unheard of to be that hot.
And it was packed.
And packed both nights on a Monday and a Saturday.
It seemed like y'all were playing 5 days a week working out.
So I was going to ask you that.
Y'all was at Icon.
Back then, y'all played
everywhere.
Morales.
Yeah, Carter Vez
on Thursday.
U Street.
Club U.
Yeah. Tone Station. What was your best spot back then?
Back then, I'd probably say Morales only for the women. The women there were different. That was Bing and Spoon, and they just promoted to a high high class, high end kind of person.
Right.
And so to see those caliber of women coming to see you and party with you, that kind of opened up
I made a couple of appearances in the rallies. You're absolutely right.
So when,
totally different.
Yeah.
So when the breakup happened with Listen, right?
Mm-hmm.
The group put out an album, the band put out an album.
Yeah.
Why wasn't no Listen album y'all was together?
Too busy working. So, not to put the business out there, but we made a lot of money. So putting out albums is basically
Time.
You know what I mean? You gotta take the time out. And we already working 7 days a week.
Right.
There literally was no time to record. You know what I mean? And we making 1.3, 1.5 million a year. Right? So at that time for 3 years straight. So at that time, what are you taking away, you know what I mean, to go record? And back then it was a little different. Early 2000s, it was a changing of the guard in terms of how you made money in the music business. The days of creating CDs and making money off CDs was starting to wane.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, you put out CDs as promotional, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the 90s, in the early 2000s, you go out and work to promote your CD. Now you put out your CD to promote your show.
Your show, right.
And so, so even now putting out music is gonna take time, it's gonna take money, you're gonna pay musicians, you're gonna do all that to not make that money back.
Right.
In hopes of working, shows to get paid. And that's where I think the go-go game was kind of ahead of the curve, because go-go is one of the last genres of music where you can still sell a CD for $10 or $20.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, all over the world, you can only get CDs from, authentic, selling them at shows.
Yeah.
And it's like merchandise now. You know what I mean? So, more bands need to take advantage of that. I see people putting out music on iTunes and all of that, which is good for exposure and good for reaching the masses, but your money is to be made inside of your show.
So you think it's not a place for originality in go-go?
Yeah, absolutely. We still create. Serious Company, one of the few bands that can go 2 hours without touching. We did it the other day at Union Oyster Bar. The whole show. I made it known too. Let the internet talk about that. We ain't touching nobody else's music. Not one lyric, not one note. We ain't touching nobody else's music. We did a whole show, all original, all stuff that we wrote or made or came from other bands that we played in. Like Miss Kim did some of the stuff that she wrote with R.E. I did some stuff. I did Sunshine, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it was all ours, and we didn't have to go into 2 hours worth of music. We didn't have to go to another band's or another group or another artist's music. You know what I mean? So it's there.
Sunshine had the city's attention.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
School, what would you do? I thought Sunshine, whenever you hit Sunshine to this day, Sunshine get the people's attention. I thought that song was going to be just more than local. I thought that song was going to really, really go out there.
I think when you listen to Sunshine, the recording, how I first did it, and quick story about Sunshine, which is crazy. That wasn't intended for me. I told you I wrote songs back in the day for Rondo International. And so this guy named 88 sent me a track. It was like, man, I got an opportunity to write for this kid named Sean Kane out of Philly, right? So he sent me the track. I called Uno. I was like, man, you want to write, go to a writing session. So me and Uno went to the studio. We show up and we write Sunshine, right? At the time, my girlfriend at the time was pregnant with my oldest son, Drew Anthony, who was also a phenomenal artist, by the way. But we write Sunshine for my oldest son. She's pregnant. I'm going through a bunch of emotions. I write Sunshine. I send it up to Sean Kane in Philly to actually, he was with J Records. I sent it to J Records, and they didn't like it, right? But it was an R&B version. There ain't no Congo, there ain't none of that. The Sunshine today is not the Sunshine we wrote that day.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I sent it to them, they didn't like it. So I was like, all right, well, listen, popular, we popular. I'm just gonna start playing at our shows. So we started playing it at our shows. We played it at the Lincoln Theater, and that was the first time I really broke it down and explained to the crowd what the song was about. And from that point on, we realized, oh shit, they like this motherfucker, right? We started playing at the Go-Go, and I started getting people to put their phones in their head about their kids. And at that time, everybody around 24, 25. So the women are having kids popping them out like, you know what I mean? They're going to the Go-Go and partying. So, man, they took hold of Sunshine, and that young man, to this day, people call me and ask me, can I sing it? Now their kids are 20, you know, 18.
I like the way you did it at the Howard Theater when y'all did y'all listen reunion.
Yeah.
You had the kids come on the stage and you had everybody putting their phones up in there. So
Yeah, now it's
that was tight.
it's a feel-good song, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it's a soul record where everybody can relate to having kids. The people that had kids.
So I was just having conversations the other day with somebody. I don't mention his name, but I was talking about, you know, because one of my frustrations with going
So
now.
no holds barred.
Yeah,
Podcast.
what happened to that, Wink?
You ain't gonna say his name shit.
All right, I'm gonna go say his name. So
Yeah.
me and Kwame was having a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, Kwame, it ain't clear, you know.
Yeah.
R.E. Kwame. But we always had this debate about you can't make original music in today's go because people ain't gonna pay to hear it, right? So I brought up Sunshine. I was like, imagine if Scooby made 20, 30 Sunshines back then.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm quite sure he's still getting residuals today from Sunshine. So imagine he made 20 or 30. Like, you gotta take a chance. Like as an artist, ain't that the dream?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as an artist, I never make songs for money. I make songs for people to express myself and for people to hear what I came up with. You know that little meme that said, look what I made, look what I made. I make songs for people to say, that's a dope song, right? After that, how do we monetize it? That's secondary to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? As an artist, as a businessman, of course, I want to make money with my art. But, you know, when we leave here, you know, just as an artist or as a human or just life, what are you leaving behind for people to remember you? You know what I mean? And I look at some bands that they want to be remembered for having a good time. And ain't nothing wrong with that, right? But my ability as a songwriter, producer, as an artist, I want people to remember what I put down on paper. You know what I mean? And Sunshine was one of those ones that it'll be here forever. You know what I mean? As long as Go-Go's around, people gonna remember Sunshine and what it made them feel like. You know what I mean? So I'm telling that emotion where some people telling that nostalgia. I remember, man, I was at the such show, boom, boom, boom. I was down Triple, I was down the Black Hole, right? They hang on to that, which they remember the band they went to see, but you can't ask them what song,
Right.
you know what I mean? Or what backyard song do you remember most? I'm asking you, what backyard song do you remember most? Backyard song.
Right, for me, it's always Keeping It Gangster.
Okay, is that? Well, I'm talking about a backyard song.
Oh, backyard song. Oh, you right?
Wayne is speechless. For the first time in the history of
Make up some
mankind,
shit. You better make up some shit.
Wayne is speechless.
You saw that dog?
Right?
You better make up some shit.
And this is no knock on Backyard, right? Backyard is one of the greatest go-go bands ever in the history of DC. Another band, which is Vibe, you know, a good friend of mine, Dirk, is one of my closest friends in go-go, but they don't really focus on the artistry side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, has the best musicians, they sound great, they're tight, but they focused on the good time of the go-go.
Right.
Right? So name a Vibe song. Right, my point. So, but they're the hottest growing sexy band right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on what you fighting for or what you really care about. For me, I care about the artistry. Now, if I ask somebody to come see me play, right, they come see my shows, they're going to riddle off about 5 or 6 songs. Because I play my songs in every single show. You see what I'm saying? Now, name 5 Essence songs. You ain't going to have no problem doing it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because they cared about that early on in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Name 5 Junkyard songs. You don't have a problem. They cared about that early in the game, and they still care about it. So, my point is, there's room for both. right? I went to Nashville and spent a week there, another live music town. I seen probably 20 bands. Not one of them played an original song. Not fucking one. Up and down, downtown Nashville. Everywhere. I'm talking about where every bar has a live stage. And they all playing at the same time, right? I'm popping in bars. I didn't hear one original song. I heard all covers for a week.
Wow.
But they working. So it depends on what, like again, what do you consider, what kind of musician, what kind of artist. I'm talking about some of the baddest motherfuckers you ever hit. Bad. Crush anything.
Mm-hmm.
So is the trade-off not worth it? Because I told Kwame this. The example I always give him, and I leave him speechless. Mo Solis broke up 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome DC has played every Wizards game to this day.
Yeah.
So what is the trade-off? Like,
Say that part again.
Welcome to DC has played every Wizards game to this day. And just not Wizards game, they played a national game. They done played the Redskins game.
Well, that's.
It only takes one.
I think
Again,
that's the theme song
what-
for the city.
Yeah. But again, what are you in it for? Are you in it for being forever recognized? Or are you in it for making $100,000 a year and being able to take care of your family for the rest of your life? Or setting up, like when I played with Listen, and I'm not trying to get off, when I played with Listen, I drove a 15-passenger church van, a black church van, that I took the seats out, I put a floor model TV in it. I got it for $800, right? The whole time we was with Listen, I'm making over $150,000. Whole time, right? 3 years straight. I drove a black van. I lived in my parents' house. Stacked my bread to the point I bought the house on Chapel Street in Southeast, right, for $80,000. Parlayed that into, I sold it 4 years later for $250. Parlayed that into my townhouse by FedEx Field, right? And parlayed that into the house I'm in now, and still got all 3 houses.
Wow.
But Listen played pretty much all covers, right? So if you vibe band and you making the money, not playing no originals, playing all covers, what are you in it for? So you can parlay in 10 years, you can say, I got retirement, I got 3 properties, I got boom, boom, boom. So what I'm saying is, it's no wrong answer, it's no right answer if you are parlaying what you think success is into a better life. So I don't have no problem with nobody playing all covers. Like, they making money.
Mm-hmm.
Do it well. Whatever you do, like Chuck said, whatever you do, big or small, do it well or don't do it at all. If you're going to be a cover band, be the best fucking cover band you can be so you can parlay that to a better life for yourself. If you're an artist, I just took the artist route. I just happen to be able to straddle the fence and do both. You know what I mean? So there's no wrong in this shit. Like, music is music.
So I got another question. I'm going to ask a question. We're going to go to break real quick.
Yes, sir.
Here's the thing. So, does the local celebrity life in the DMV keep you stuck? There's no question that we both agree that the go-go circuit has some of the most talented musicians in the world.
Mm-hmm.
What keeps you stuck here? We'll be right back.
Hold that thought.
Hold that thought.
Be
I
right
got some
back
shit to say.
live in the den.
And listen, follow me on all your social media sites. Frank Serious on Instagram, Serious Company on everything. I see y'all soon, man. Peace. It's the Godson.
Push the subscribe button, man. The subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button.
Yes.
See y'all when we see you. Move 'em.